Have you ever wondered how to make ChatGPT even more powerful so that it can answer harder questions? Questions that require more thought than just a simple summary of Google results. Complex questions like, how should I grow my business? Or is this stock going to actually make me any money? This is actually possible with the multi-agent approach, and this is how we're going to use large language models in the future to solve hard problems. But we don't have to wait. We have what we need to start using multi-agents right now. And this is the first step towards building AI companies or teams that can help a single person do what used to take a team of humans. You can have your AI team work on problems and bring you a detailed and well-researched conclusion, so you know you're making the right decision. Now, we've all seen the headlines that AI is better than humans at picking stocks, so I thought for today's example, I'd show you how you can create a team of AIs to analyze stocks and help you find the winners. I also want to explore the benefits of multi-agents, how they work, and give you a step-by-step tutorial on making a team of AIs to analyze stocks for you. Now, before I get into it, if you enjoy learning about AI and how to use the latest technology coming out, please consider subscribing to the channel. Like the video if you want more content on using multi-agent LLMs. I truly believe the next ChatGPT is going to utilize a lot of this, so it's useful to understand how it works before that comes out. So first, what's the difference in a multi-agent approach versus just asking ChatGPT to solve something? Well, in our example today, we're going to analyze a stock to determine if it's a good investment or not. Now, you can certainly ask ChatGPT this question right now, and it will give you a response. But this is going to be based on its training data, the prompt you fed it, and maybe a brief internet search that it performs. Maybe in your prompt you say, acting as a financial advisor, is Tesla a good investment? Now, a financial advisor is going to tackle this problem by looking at the financial statements of Tesla, reviewing the earnings and hard numbers, but everybody knows analyzing a stock is more than just the earnings statements. If suddenly Elon announces that Tesla's discovered nuclear fission and now each of their cars can drive for 1,000,000 miles without a single charge, that's going to make Tesla a pretty interesting investment now. And the earnings statements that the financial advisor is reviewing is not going to show that. So, maybe having a second ChatGPT that can take the financial advisor's analysis and then perform its own analysis based on news articles would give a much more informed opinion. But what about the data on whether the insiders at Tesla are selling off their stock? This information is posted in the SEC filings on the website, and it lets you know if the executive team's optimistic for the future or if they think it's time to start taking some profits. The financial advisor may not consider this, and not all insider selling makes a news article. So having a third ChatGPT to review the SEC filings for executives selling stock might help your analysis even further. Okay, but what about the fact that Tesla has a new product launch scheduled for the coming months, and everyone expects the hot new car to be announced? Having a fourth ChatGPT to analyze for future events would help even further. I think you get the point. There's 100 ways to analyze a stock, and having more than just a single agent look at the stock would make your decision more accurate and complete. That's the power of multi-agents. You can have each of those agents review the stock in our example and come together to give you a single report that accounts for multiple factors from multiple backgrounds, so you know you're making the best choice with the most data. This is also a good time to mention disclaimer that this is not financial advice, so please make sure you understand how these work before you make any investment decisions based on these. Now that we understand the concept, let's actually make one. I have the files in the video description, and I'll do my best to walk you through each step so that you can ensure you get yours working. To get multiple agents to tackle your problem, we're going to use a program called CrewAI. This is not a sponsored video, but the example today is based on their stock analysis example, so I'll link that in the video description if you want to check it out. I've modified it for today's example so that it works with Google Colab and a couple other modifications I've made. If you're comfortable with GitHub, you can do their example directly. Okay, so to get started, in the video description, I've got a link to all the files and everything that we're going to need to do today's example. To download all the files to your computer, you can actually click this drop down here and do download, and it'll zip the file and put it on your hard drive. So while that downloads, I'm going to actually double click this Tech@Work Stock Multi-Agent Runner. This is the Google Colab window that will be the main code that's going to run all these files for us. So it can reference, the different files included in this folder here. So if you double click that, it'll actually take you directly to Google Colab and open the file here. The next thing we need to do is get the files that we just downloaded in the zip folder and get them into the Google Colab session so that we can reference them in our code here. If you click the File button here, and then up where it says Mount Google Drive, if you click that, sometimes it'll just mount it, other times it'll put this code into your code. You may need to run that in order to mount it. It'll ask you to allow permission, and you log into your Google account, continue. So once that finishes, you'll see the Drive folder here. And you can navigate down to where you want to save the files that we'll use for today's example. So here I'm going to go into the Colab Notebook section, and then I'm going to hit these three dots and hit New Folder. And I'm going to call this CrewAI Stock Example, and press Enter. Now we're going to go back to the zip folder that we downloaded and unzip those files. So if you double click it, it'll unzip it. And then you can open that folder and copy all the files outside of the folder. Colab is weird about accepting subfolders and the files inside. So just highlight the files outside of that folder, drag them over, and put them into the Google Colab folder that you just created. And you'll see it adds them into that folder that we created. Once that finishes, you'll see all the files in our folder that we created. The next thing we need to do is get the tools subfolder into here as well. Like I said, Colab is weird about uploading subfolders. If you click these three dots, you can do New Folder and then call it lowercase tools, hit Enter. And then we're going to go back to the files that we have, go inside the tools folder, and then just copy these 4 tools into the Google Colab session of that folder that we just created called tools, like that. So now we have all the files from the video description in our Google Colab session. And here on the right, we've got the runner that's going to actually run the different files that are here. Just to kind of give you a high level, the tools are going to be literally tools that the AI agents can utilize to accomplish some of the tasks. The tasks are going to be defined in this stock analysis tasks Python script, and then the stock analysis agent is going to define the different AI agents that we'll use in our code to look at different aspects of a stock, basically. This main Python script, that's what sets up the AI crew so that it coordinates all the different AI agents that you're setting up and the tasks that you're setting up. And then the runner is just our Colab session that we can put our API keys that we'll need and then install the different libraries and everything in order to run it all. So the first thing we're going to do is set the current directory to the new file that we had created, the CrewAI stock example. If you click the 3 dots and do copy path, it'll give you the exact location to this folder with all the files in it, and replace the one that I have here with your file path, like that. And then you can run that to set the current directory. This was left over from when we mounted our drive. We don't need that anymore, so we can actually get rid of that. The next step is to put an initiate Python file into the tools folder. So if you run this, it'll just generate this int Python file in there. And you'll see it actually pop up after it runs. There we go. So the next thing we're going to do is get the API keys that we need for the different tools that our agents can use when accomplishing the tasks that we assign for them. CrewAI put these 4 APIs for their example with the links as well that you can get the API key for free. So the first one is serper.dev. Serper.dev is a website that offers Google Search API that can be used to get Google search data for applications. This will be useful for when we're searching for news articles and things from Google about the stock that we're looking at. If you go to serper.dev and then go to sign up, put in your information, create an account, and it'll have you verify your email. And then once it verifies, you'll see it'll open up into either the playground or the dashboard. Click the API key on the left side and then hit copy. Then go back to the Google Colab window and paste it where it says key for the Serper section. I'm going to deactivate these keys, so don't bother trying to steal them. The next one is browserless.io, just a web scraping service that will give us the content of different web pages. Browserless is what CrewAI has for their example and what their code is set up to use. Unfortunately for this one, it only lets you have 7 days of a free trial, and then it'll put you onto a paid plan. I've seen that there's others that you can use, like AntScraper, I believe, that's free. But for the ease of just using this for the example, we're going to sign up and do the free trial so that we can use the API key on this one. So you'll go to sign up. I've actually already signed up, so I'm going to go to login. You'll see this page here. And if you scroll down, there's an API token. Copy that into the Google Colab window we have where it says key for browserless. And then the next one is the SEC API. Again, we'll copy this link and do the free tier. The SEC one will be used for getting the financial documents that companies post. The AI can use the latest and greatest information. Go to get a free API key. I'm just going to sign up with Google. It's pretty easy. And then you get your API key right there. So you can just copy that back to the Google Colab and paste it where it says key here. All right, the last one is our Openai API key. Go to openai.com. Go to their products here. This is how their website's set up currently. And then API login. If you don't already have an API key or an API account set up, you'll have to set that up. I have another video I'll link here from how I did it originally. But once you get logged in, you can go down to the API keys here and then create new API key. I'm going to call this CrewAI stock example and then hit create secret key. Copy that, go back to the Google Colab and paste it where it says key for Openai. Again, I'm going to deactivate all these API keys, so don't bother trying to copy these. Now we have all the API keys that our program needs to use the different tools for the AI agents. The next part here, I'm going to show you how to set up the agents, the tasks, and define the stock that you want to look at. So if we go back to the folder where everything is at, the first thing we're going to do is set up the tools that our AI agents can use. So if you go into that tools folder and open browser tools and then move that all the way over so we can actually see it, this is going to allow the agents to browse the internet. You can see we're defining the agent, the role as a principal researcher for this tool, and they're going to use it to do amazing research and summaries based on the content you're working with. You're the principal researcher for a big company. The way CrewAI works is their agents get a goal and a backstory, which is basically like the context of the AI. And then you can define the task as well. So analyze and summarize the content, making sure to include the most relevant information in the summary. So this is basically just a web scraping tool that the AI agents can use, and you'll see when we set up the agents, we're going to define the tools that each agent is allowed to use. The next one is a calculator tool. Again, this is just for mathematical calculations. So if we're looking at financials and that sort of thing, it might be useful for that agent to have a calculator tool. And this one is actually utilizing LangChain, some of the LangChain toolkit. So the next one is search tools. So this will utilize the serper.dev and search for like relevant news articles and things on the stock that you're looking at. You can kind of read through this. It works just fine exactly how it's set up. The last tool is the SEC tool. This is what will pull the financial documentation from the SEC website. This will define an SEC tool for the 10Q form as well as the 10K form. And then it'll pull in the information for those and specify that it's only looking for the stock that we're looking at. So that's the tools that the agents can utilize. This is like their toolkit that they're able to access. But now we need to actually define the agents that we're going to use and define their roles along with their goal and backstory. So if you go to stock analysis agents and double click that, this is where we're defining the different AI agents. So the first one is a financial analyst. Its role we're defining here is the best financial analyst. Its goal is to impress all customers with your financial data and market trend analysis. And then you give it context or a backstory. Here we're saying the most seasoned financial analyst with lots of expertise in the stock market and investment strategies that work for super important customer. You can obviously change this in prompt engineering or whatever you want to make it more complete. You can adjust this as you need. And then you can set verbose to true. So this will, make it give a full explanation, quite wordy, I would say. But that's kind of what you want when you're running an analysis like this. You don't want it to skip any details or summarize things that you actually want like the true detail for. And then this is where we're defining the tools that this agent can use. Again, it's going to allow it to use the browser tools, the search tools, the calculator tool, and the SEC tools. This financial analyst is going to be the one that pulls in the 10K, the 10Q, and look at the financials of the company. The next agent is the research agent. This is staff research agent, best at gathering and interpreting data to amaze the customers. You're the best research analyst. You're skilled in sifting through news, company announcements, market sentiment. Now you're working on a super important customer. So again, we're going to define the tools that this agent can use. So we've got the browser tools for scraping websites, search tools for searching the internet. It looks like it's linked with Yahoo Finance News tool as well, so that it can get news articles. And then the SEC tools again, so that it can reference the 10Q and the 10K. The next agent is the investment advisor. So this is defined as the private investment advisor. Again, impressing your customers with analysis over stocks and complete investment recommendations. You're the most experienced investment advisor and combine various analytical insights to formulate strategic investment advice. You're working for a super important customer. Again, with the tools defined, it's using the browser tools, search tools, the calculator, and the Yahoo Finance again. And then again, I've got the max tokens set at 1,000 at the top of this. So now that we've defined all the agents that we're going to use and given them all their roles, now we need to define the tasks for what we're doing with the stock ticker that we're giving the program. So if you open the stock analysis tasks file, it'll open this. So the first task here is research. So you assign an agent and the company that it's going to pull in. And I'll show you where you define the company in the main script. For research, you're going to collect and summarize news articles. Again, this is just a prompt that we feed into the program to tell it what the research task is. Again, I've set the max tokens to 1,000, and then then if you scroll down, the second task is financial analysis. And so this is conduct a thorough analysis of stock's financial health, market performance, look at key financial metrics such as PE ratio, EPS growth. Your final report must expand on the summary provided, include a clear assessment of the stock's financial standing, blah, 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 blah. It's worth mentioning here as well, there's this tip section. So at the very bottom, we've defined this function that says, if you do your best work, I'll give you a $10,000 commission. This is based on getting better responses out of AIs when you tell them there's a massive incentive to do good work. Just kind of a little trick. So the next one is filing analysis. This is where you're going to analyze the latest 10Q and 10K filings from the SEC API call that you're using. Focus on key sections like management discussion, analysis, financial statements. Final answer must expand on the report and also highlight significant findings from the filings. And again, it's got this tip section. And then finally, we have the recommendation task at the end. So this is going to review and synthesize the analysis provided by the financial analyst, the research analyst, combine these insights to form a comprehensive investment recommendation. You must follow all aspects, including financial health, market sentiment, qualitative data from the Edgar filings. Make sure to include section that shows insider trading activity and upcoming events like earnings. Your final answer must be a recommendation for the customer. It would be full of super detailed report, providing a clear investment stance and strategy with supporting evidence. Give a clear stance on whether an investment in the stock would likely be profitable, or if it's best to keep looking for another stock to buy. Make sure it's pretty and well formatted, and then it's got the tip as well. Modified this prompt a little bit just because when I was playing with it, sometimes the final report would say, there's risks associated, it's got good and bad. It was kind of wishy-washy, and I wanted it to give a firm stance if it was a good investment or not. So I added this line here in the middle. Now we have all the tasks defined, we have the agents defined. Now we can look at the main Python script. So if you open that, this is what's setting up your crew of AIs, basically. We're defining a financial crew, and again, I've set the max tokens at 1,000. It's defining the agents as the stock analysis agents, which is what we defined in the agents script. It's also defining the tasks, which we defined in the task script. And then it's got the research analyst agent, financial analyst agent, and investment agent. And then it's also got the research task, financial task, filings task, and then the final recommendation task. Now you're defining the crew. So the agents are the research analyst agents, the financial analyst agents, investment advisor agent, and then the tasks that each are going to complete. So the research analyst is going to perform the research task, financial analyst is going to do the financial task, and the investment advisor is going to do the filings task. And then at the end, it will pull all this together to put together a recommendation task. And that will actually be performed by the investment advisor. And then at the bottom, it's got the formatting for the final report that it will put together for you. This is where you're going to define the stock that you want the program to look at. So you can see here, it says replace Tesla with the desired company ticker. So you can change this to whatever stock ticker you want, but we'll leave it at Tesla for this example. So make sure you save any changes. And once you've got all that updated and you've got the prompts and everything where you want them and you've got them saved, you can close all that. And we'll actually go back to the Google Colab runner file that we have. And we're going to run the API keys that we've defined earlier. And then now we're going to load the programs that we're going to need in order to run this program. So you can run this bottom box here, second to last box, and it's going to load all the different programs that are going to be required. And you can kind of scroll across here and see what we've got. It's got Yahoo Finance, the SEC, Tick Token, Python, LangChain, and Openai. I'm going to close my folder viewer here just so we get a better view. It installs quite a bit. It's a lot of programs. While that runs, it's also worth mentioning that this program is going to use ChatGPT 4 by default, which can be a little more expensive. So if you want to change it to ChatGPT 3.5, this README file is from CrewAI's GitHub and kind of walks through how to run the script and everything. If you scroll down, it talks about using GPT 3.5, and you can just copy this line here where you're defining the LLM and put it into the main Python script. If you do change it, then you'll need to update this line here after verbose for the different agents and just put LLM equals the LLM that you're defining now. That's ChatGPT 3.5. So you go back into the agents, and then after verbose, you would just put LLM equals LLM. So you're defining which LLM to use, and then defining it as the LLM that we defined in the main Python script here. But I'm going to leave it at ChatGPT 4 for the example. So once that finishes installing, now we're ready to run the last line here, which is going to run the main Python script, main.py. Make sure that you have all of your prompting and your API keys and everything that you want to work correctly, because this will start pinging your API and specifically the OpenAI one that will charge you. So make sure you have your stuff set up before you click the run button on this. If we scroll down, we can actually see part of what each agent is performing for the task. So you can see it's running an executor chain. This is some of the news that it found for the Tesla ticker, and it'll just walk you through the logic that each of these AI agents is doing to put together the final recommendation at the end. So it'll take a minute to run, and once it completes, we'll look at the recommendation summary that it puts at the end.
Few moments later.
Okay, and now it's finished, and you can see this is the comprehensive investment recommendation that it makes. It breaks it down by the financial analysis, the market sentiment, insider trading activity, upcoming events, and then the ultimate investment recommendation. I will say the first time I ran it, I hit the rate limit on my Openai account. It does use a pretty hefty API call, especially using GPT-4. So make sure you have your limits set high enough. When this ran, and if I go to my usage, you can see the successful run was almost $4. It was $3.85. Most of that was in the GPT-4 call, so that was $3.82, whereas the embeddings were only about 3 cents. Again, you can save quite a bit if you have it set to GPT 3.5, but looking at the report that it summarized for us, it did a pretty good job, and you can see a lot of the analysis that it's doing, some of the news articles it's pulling in, how it's processing the 10K and the different SEC documents, and then it comes down and does this ultimate breakdown to give you this final summary here. And it says, Q1 revenues decreased compared to the same period of the previous year. Company initiated a restructuring process. It's going to be significant costs in the next quarter. Tesla's substantial amount of cash and cash equivalents on hand, which helped the company navigate through potential financial challenges. The market sentiment towards Tesla seems positive at the moment. There are news reports indicating Tesla's stock is on a winning streak, contributing to its bullish tone in the broader market. The company's CFO recently sold 4,000 shares. This could indicate the confidence level of the insiders in their own company. And then upcoming events, they have an earnings release scheduled for Q3. This event could potentially influence the stock's performance. And then ultimately it says, considering the above factors, presents opportunities and risks given the company's strong financial position, positive market sentiment. It's a good long-term investment. With the recent decrease in quarterly revenue and net income, as well as the restructuring costs, it might impact the short-term performance. However, a balanced investment strategy and maintain a watchful eye on Tesla's performance and make adjustments as necessary. Basically, it says it's a pretty good long-term investment, and it may run into some headwinds in the short term. So it's pretty neat. Play around with it. Again, you can adjust the agent prompts and run these analyses a little different. You can use your own tools. You can better define the tasks if you want. But again, multi-agent, I really think this is going to be the future of how ChatGPT works, because it allows you to do so much more. It just gives you such a better response and takes in so much more data than what the current ChatGPT does. But yeah, play around with it. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you like AI content. And if you want more videos on multi-agent processing, please like the video, maybe leave a comment down below for other video ideas that you want to see. And yeah, that's all for now. Until next time, thanks.